Joining me now is APS School Board member and keynote speaker at this year's OSBA conference, Stephen Quezada. Thank you so much for joining me.
Sure.
So my first question for you is, how would you describe this conference to someone who doesn't even know what it is?
These conferences are important for school board members so they can get the information they need when they're making decisions, whether they're talking about policy or if they're talking about things that they're going to help the superintendent to be successful, and looking at all the things that we deal with that come down from the PED when it comes to either standardized testing, which you're probably very aware of,
Yes.
Or teacher evaluations or school grades. It's important for us to have the type of information that we need in order to either make it valuable to us or say that it has no value to us. And so without information, you can't make those types of decisions. So no matter how old you are, you're always learning, right?
Yeah.
So we always have to continue to keep learning. And I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of these vendors to come and show the stuff that they need that are also going to support education. So, we have this in the state where I come from. I come from New Mexico. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so we have these, each state has these, and it's important that we continue that kind of work.
So how has your experience in theatrical and television acting influenced your educational experience, and how did you get involved with OSBA coming from New Mexico?
Well, I think they reached out to me knowing that I'm a school board member, and I'm involved in education on all different levels, not only just public school, but from nonprofits, which I started doing Youth Development Incorporated in Albuquerque, and I did gang intervention programs and middle school programs and high school programs. I used theater and filmmaking to change, and give kids opportunities and to give them, be able to dream about what they wanted to do for a living. And when you live in a state like New Mexico, you don't get a lot of those opportunities. And that's just who I am. I mean, being an actor and a comedian is half of who I am.
Yeah.
So that's just my job, and I take it that way. I'm no special than anybody else on this planet. I'm just a guy trying to do the right thing and wanting to be able to do what I love to do for a living, which is stand-up comedy and acting, and I've been blessed to be able to do that.
That's really special. So, having been deeply involved in education for so long, what are some of the trends that you would like to see started in education?
I would like to see public education get more involved in school choice. I'm not a big advocate for-profit schools, but the charter school movement has done a great thing, and what it has done is opened our eyes to that kids want choices and parents want choices for their children. There's a lot of kids out there like you that kind of have already gravitated towards something that you would like to do, and I think you should have that opportunity to do it now that you're in high school. And so I'd like to see more high schools that are public high schools that either could deal with film and television, with STEM, with performing arts, athletics or different ideas. And I think we could do a lot more. I think we need to start looking at giving kids an opportunity to be part of the workforce. Me and you know that you probably have friends, and I had friends growing up, that they just want to get through school and go work, right? Yeah. So if we can give them a trade, if we can give them a construction trade or plumbing or mechanics, which people don't realize, those are very high-paying, good-paying jobs. You got to work hard, but a lot of people want to do that. And there's a lot of kids who want to do that. So those types of choices is why I got involved in public education, to give choices for children.
So in your speech, you talked a little about struggling in school and not really liking it. So how would you advise a student who's experiencing those same struggles in school and how they can succeed with their education?
I think you need to find a way that makes you be excited about learning. Like I said, when I ran into project-based learning, I didn't know it was called project-based learning. I just called it theater at the time, or drama.
Yeah.
That's when things changed for me. And then as I got older, I realized there's different methods of learning, and people's brains all, work differently, and they learn differently. And I really found that out through my own 3 children. I have 3 daughters, and they all are different. They all learn differently. They all have different loves, and so I knew then that was a big key component that I felt that was missing, and I knew it had changed my life. And I want to be able for kids to look and be able to explore and find ways that inspire them to learn.
Yeah. So How do you think this Capital Conference helps to guide education in the right direction for the future?
Well, I think it's always talking about education. It's always having that, in the front of our minds and saying, this is what we need to work on. This is what we need to change. This is what's working, and this is what's not working. That's important to know. And so as long as we're always having a conversation, as long as we're doing that, it's important to be doing that every year. And that's what these types of, conventions are for, and that's what we need to take them seriously when we come here. And it's okay to have a little fun at night and go see the big city and go see things, but during the day stay focused on what the work is, because I did mean that in my speech, that our children are America's greatest natural resource, and we have to do our best to give them the opportunities to be successful.
Keeping children and education in mind, the theme for this conference has been leadership for learning. So what does leadership for learning mean to you?
Well, we need leaders, right? We need people who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. And so not training ourselves to be the leaders, but being able to give what we learn to you so you could be the leaders of tomorrow, because, that's something that can't be lost through this whole process. And I know it's really hard to be the leader of tomorrow. I mean, we look at what politics are and how ugly that's become, and it's really hard to want to have our children have to go through something that brutal just to be a leader. So we're going to have to figure out, as we talk about leadership, what is leadership, what's the proper way to find our leaders and to allow our people to run for office, to become the leaders, and do we change the atmosphere of what politics are, and what the politics are, whether it's in the school board or it's at the state level or at the, or at the federal level. How do we change that?
Well, I think we can use our education to really move into that leadership role. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been an honor speaking with you.
Sure, you too.